So back in January, Samsung got the year kicked off with their Galaxy S21 line of phones. The Ultra being the biggest and baddest of the three, of course, starting at $1,200. Not only did it arrive stuffed to the brim with features and specs and everything in between, it was also nicely refined and polished, and it came with a favorably adjusted price tag, $200 less than its predecessor to be exact. You remember that? The S20 Ultra, $1,400 for a... Never mind. Anyway, with new phones on the way from Google, Apple, and Samsung themselves, where does this one stand as we continue and quickly begin closing out the second half of 2021? Alright, so here's the thing with the S21 Ultra. Like I said, this phone came refined and polished. This is exactly what Samsung wanted the S20 Ultra to be. This got right pretty much everything the 20 Ultra got wrong, and dare I say, it was polished to near perfection. Having said that, what's it like now? Is it still this and is it still that? Yes, it's still fast, it's still smooth, the screen still looks amazing, yes, it still takes great pictures, and yes, the battery life is still good. It's only been 7 months. I could end the video right there, but I'm not going to because I like talking. For real though, it's been great revisiting this phone. Every time I come back to it, I kind of geek out over how well built it is. It's built like an absolute tank and it screams quality. It's weighty, it's rock solid, it's more mature and classy than ever before. I really like how the camera module kind of melts into the frame instead of just getting plopped somewhere on the back, and instead of shiny, glossy, fingerprinty glass, they use sort of a matted glass, which was definitely the right move. The 21 Ultra nails it when it comes to making you feel you're getting your money's worth. And while the phone is pretty beefy, it's still comfortable to use, even with how slippery it is. Seriously, not that you'd actually want to drop a phone on your face, but this is the last phone you'd want to drop on your face. I'm not one of those people that can trust themselves to leave the house without a case on my phone because of, well, past experiences. I'm still kind of paranoid about that, so I've been using one of dbrand's grip cases and, well, problem solved. This is a must for me. You can check out dbrand's super grippy cases, display-saving screen protectors, and awesome skins using the first link below. The screen is another thing I continue to marvel at because of its phenomenal combination of size, quality, fluidity, brightness, colors, contrast, bezel-lessness, I think I just made that a word, and all of that good stuff. It is the king of eye candy. Everything put together makes for a user experience that is super enjoyable and as smooth as butter. You know, we gotta come up with a better saying than that because it's gotten old. This really is the king of straight butter. The phone is straight butter. It is very smooth. Smooth, it's straight butter, straight butter. This phone has been buttery smooth. This phone has been absolute butter, or as I like to call it, straight butter. As frictionless as pumpkin puree?
No.
As unruffled as avocado?
I don't want to hear that.
As continuous as olive oil?
That's what you want to hear? Yes. Come on, man.
As effortless as Greek yogurt?
Oh my gosh.
Okay. In terms of everyday performance, there really isn't much to say. Like I said, it's only been 7 months after all, so of course it should run about the same as it did out of the box, and well, it does. If anything, a couple of updates have actually improved some things, which is great. Battery life is good, a full day's use isn't difficult to achieve at all, the battery is reliable, and of course there are plenty of built-in software options that'll help save some juice if needed. I get around 6 hours of screen on time with everything fully maxed out, and the standby time has been great. Hey, so editor Zach here, dropping in real quick. So interestingly enough, I was actually able to pull over 13 hours of screen on time one day during this revisit. It was moderate use, so nothing too insane. It was an off day, so there was a good amount of catching up on Netflix, which is something I don't get to do too often, but ever since then I've been able to get over 7 hours of screen on time. So I think it's safe to say that battery life has definitely gotten better with some of these updates over time, whereas before I was only getting a bit over 6. So there's that. Okay, back to the other Zach. The haptics are nice and solid, the speakers sound pretty good, I haven't had any issues with the fingerprint scanner. I do wish the volume controls were on the left hand side, but that's not that big of a deal. During heavy use, the phone does get a little bit warm, but that's normal, and in my experience it hasn't overheated or anything. I honestly don't see this phone having much issue performance-wise long term. I do have the Snapdragon model, so that's good, but we'll see what happens as time progresses. As for One UI, I do have my gripes with it, and it's not my favorite when it comes to visuals. I feel the stock experience is grossly under-customizable. In terms of aesthetics, I would love to be able to use third-party icon packs from the Play Store in the stock launcher. I like that you can have the Google feed off to the left, so that's great. But you know what would also be great? If the baked-in weather app didn't have ads. Anyway, visually, I'm not the biggest fan. I've gotten used to it overall, and yes, I'm well aware of things like the theme store and things like Good Lock, which I love by the way, but as a customization freak, I know there's more Samsung can add without us having to grab extra resources ourselves. Now, I am a fan when it comes to its practicality. There are loads and loads of settings that you may not even think about when using a different phone, but if and when you discover them in here, it kind of makes you wonder why other manufacturers haven't implemented some of these yet. And on top of that, you got Samsung promising 3 new Android versions and 4 years of security patches. Who knows when the phone will get Android 12, but at least we know it's getting it. It's honestly really great to see Samsung take steps in the right direction when it comes to software support. Now, of course, the cameras are a big focus with this phone, pun totally intended, and they've been great. It kind of goes without saying that this is the most versatile and one of the best camera experiences in a phone, period. Personally, I don't take a whole ton of pictures and videos, so a simple point and shoot experience on something like an iPhone or a Pixel works just fine for me, but I'd be lying to you if I said I didn't get a lot of enjoyment when I used these cameras because of everything they have to offer. And while iPhones still remain at the top when it comes to video capture, the S21 Ultra isn't too far behind, and in some ways it tops the iPhone with things like the baked-in Pro mode, for example. These cameras are not perfect at all. Some people may not like what they have to offer, but all in all, there's no denying that they are some of the best, and Samsung has done a good job improving them and kind of nailing down a direction they want to go with them. Okay, so with this revisit, one of the things that stood out to me the most is this phone's current price. It started at $1,200 like I mentioned earlier, but if you know anything about Android phones and especially Samsung phones, these prices don't stay the same for long. Even Samsung themselves have this thing at $200 off, or you can take advantage of the trade-in offers they have. And it won't be all that difficult finding a 21 Ultra for well under $1,000 on the used market, which is amazing considering what this phone is all about. At that point, it's almost a no-brainer in my book. With Google's Pixel 6s on the way, Apple's iPhone 13 or 12s or whatever the heck they're gonna call it, Samsung's new foldables and next S-line iterations, so on and so forth, and with its price decreasing over time, the 21 Ultra will continue becoming more and more of a sleeper and a value monster. Obviously, there's not a single perfect phone in existence, and this one here is no exception, but it really isn't far from it. Say what you want about One UI, yeah, it's flawed, but it's loaded with genuinely useful features. And yes, I totally understand the removal of expandable storage was super unfortunate and heartbreaking for a lot of people. And boy, would it be amazing if this phone had 65-watt fast charging. Either way, this remains a do-it-all phone from top to bottom. Heck, it even has S Pen support, which is great and just adds on a whole new layer of versatility. So if it came down to it where I had to choose just one phone to use as my main indefinitely, the S21 Ultra would be my first consideration. So what do you think of the S21 Ultra? Do you have one, or are you thinking about getting one? Let's talk about it in the comments. If you made it to this point of the video, you are awesome. Comment potato. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to drop a like. It really helps out the channel. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. It's been Zach. I'll talk to you later, and thank you so much for watching.